Good Sunday afternoon, everybody. Chris Allen with a special weather podcast on this February 15th. Everybody talking about snow, so a little rare, a podcast coming from the home studio instead of the WBKO Weather Center. And been watching this stuff since yesterday, really Friday evening, all day yesterday, just kind of watching it, conversing with Shane and Christy and our weather team, and then conversing with the National Weather Service and Kentucky Emergency Management, just different folks, and was in on a conference call this afternoon with the Weather Service office in Louisville. And the conclusion, if you've been watching some of the posts online and at WBKO.com, well, you know, the numbers keep going up on this, what is going to be, or appears it's going to be, a significant snowfall, a big event for southern Kentucky, something that, frankly, we haven't seen around here in years, maybe decades. And I know there's some skepticism, understood. I am right there with you. I'm kind of on that fence of, I look at some of these numbers, and I'm just really scratching my head saying, is this for real? And so those of you that are asking that question, I understand completely. But in the conference call with the National Weather Service, certainly they feel like this is for real. Once we look at the parameters, the ingredients needed for a classic snowstorm to occur in southern Kentucky, you have to have everything coming together. And once it does come together, it's once in a blue moon, we understand that, but when it does, it's usually a big one. And this one could certainly turn out to be significant. Maybe, I don't know, historic that's too soon to say, but we'll see. It's certainly been decades maybe since we've seen this kind of a significant snowstorm. 96 comes to mind, but with that one we had 4 to 8 inches of snow in some cases here in the Bowling Green area. 94, a lot of you remember the ice storm. That was a combination of ice and snow. 85 is another one. 78, of course, the winter, that one was a huge one. I mean, this may be in comparison to those major winter events here in southern Kentucky. Now, I will throw this out there that when you look at the numbers, we're going to lean a little more conservative on the numbers than maybe some. I know the latest update from the Weather Center as of, say, 1 o'clock this afternoon, Central Time, when we had the conference call, was putting out new numbers, higher numbers at somewhere, say, 10 to 15 inches across southern Kentucky, with maybe a sliver of the southeastern corner of our viewing area down toward Lake Cumberland being a little bit less, because their thinking is enough warm air is going to come in and maybe bring down the overall snow totals. But we're going to lean on the conservative side of things here, in that we know that any time with these kind of snow systems, things may not go as much as the higher end number. So I know, everybody's going to look at these maps and think, okay, 15 inches, 18. The Weather Channel's putting out something different. They're putting out 12 to 18. But you think about that, that's a pretty big spread, 12 to 18. That's a 6-inch spread. That's a half a foot spread. So you have to look at the spread here. You can't just focus on one number or the other. So as I've cautioned you here before, don't get caught up so much in the numbers. The bigger question you should be looking at, or asking instead of how much snow we're going to get, is, are you prepared? Are you ready for being down several days without any place to go? Because I can tell you that just based on resources over parts of South Central Kentucky and all the years, 30 years I've been doing this, I know that there are some counties and some municipalities that are just not going to be ready for this. They're not going to be ready to scrape your road, your back road, or your small town street. They're just not going to be prepared for that. There's not enough scoops or scrapers or, road salt and brine has all been put down, but after a while, that's not going to, it's going to be useless because temperatures are going to stay very cold for the rest of the work week. So whatever comes down starting tonight and all day tomorrow is not going anywhere. It's going to stay. It's going to stick, and it's not going to melt. So I'm looking at long-term school issues, maybe some business issues, travel issues, certainly hazardous driving conditions beginning tonight and all through the day, next few days. If we get that much snow, even 6 to 8 inches of snow comes close to paralyzing this area of southern Kentucky. We're not used to it. We're not familiar with it. And we're just really, in some ways, not prepared to take on that bigger. We're talking a Boston-type snow. Well, let me take that back. Boston's had unusually 3 or 4 hits of huge snow, 5-foot drifts and all that. But this is a major system that's coming in. We've got an area of low pressure tracking along the Gulf Coast and a little bit north of that. It's going to throw moisture into, this is the difference. This is the difference between this and all the other times we predicted snow this season. We have now established a cold air layer that's now the foundation of our atmosphere at the surface and even above us. Now, that low pressure system is going to throw moisture into southern Kentucky late tonight, during the day tomorrow. It's going to be a perfect setup in that from the air columns from the top down are going to be cold enough to substantiate all snow. And as I mentioned, there could be that period of mixed precipitation down near the Tennessee border over toward Lake Cumberland, where you may start out as a mix for a while and then convert over to snow. But the temperatures will not get above freezing anytime soon, so whatever falls is going to stay. And the production of snowflakes and the production of growth of the snow powder itself, or the snowflakes, is going to be such that we could have some fairly high snowfall rates per hour. In some cases, when the worst of the snow is coming down, which could be 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on Monday, we could have some snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour. Now think about that. And you could pick up an inch or more of snow within an hour's period. Now, where those heavier bands set up is in question, but it is a possibility. And that's why we say when we've put up the graphics, this is intentional. When you've seen the graphics that I've put up today and we've put in our weather stories and things like that, social media, they've had that little caveat down at the bottom that says, note, as new model data comes in, we may adjust up or down the potential snowfall. And we use that word potential on purpose because we really don't know until this storm gets started as to who is going to get how much. When it's over, then you'll know. Is that clear enough? I mean, that's just being honest with you. We really don't know. When we put up those numbers, the numbers are what the computer models are telling us, working out all the mathematical equations and the algorithms, looking at the different scenarios and the precipitation type and the temperature at certain elevation down to the surface. It takes all that in consideration. It says, here, I'm giving you an offer. I'm giving you what I think, the computer's saying, this is what I think is going to happen. But it could be different from that. But when you get all of those models coming into this much agreement at once, it's classic and it's rare. And so that's why we're taking this particular scenario seriously, and we think this is one that's going to have a huge impact on everybody. I don't care where you live, this is going to be a significant snowstorm for this area. We may end up closer to 6, 7, 8 inches instead of the 10, 12, 15. But wherever we land in there, you know that this area is not used to that, and so it's going to be enough to cause some major headaches over the next few days. So if you know someone who is elderly and cannot take care of themselves, if you know of you need to have an alternative heat source, you could lose power. I mean, it's not going to be an ice storm, but the weight of the snow, if we do get a foot of snow and it weighs on the trees or power lines, you can have some issues there. You got to think about the what ifs and the what fors. I mean, it could be a situation in which you could be left without alternative heat. Power up your devices, your cell phone, your tablets. Have all that ready to go. If you have a backup weather radio or just a regular radio or even a portable television that runs off battery or, can plug into a USB port or something like that. Get all that stuff ready because this is going to come in tonight. So let's talk about the timing. The timing we're looking at right now, some of the models are in a little bit of disagreement as to what time it's going to get here, but it looks like it's going to be sometime around midnight or after is when we really start to see the snow pick up. And then during the overnight hours, early on Monday morning, say 4, 5, 6 a.m., about when you get ready to get up, go to school, go to work, traffic picks up, that's when things are going to pick up as far as the snow. And then through the morning hours, up until about early afternoon, snowing pretty good. And the winds are going to be blowing too. It's going to blow that snow around, reducing visibility, and it's going to pile up quick. This is going to be the big accumulating snowflakes that are going to pile up very quickly. So once it starts, you won't have a lot of time to change your mind or to change your travel plans because then you'll be stuck. So that's what we're looking at, a scenario where you could get stuck being somewhere and then not be able to get back home or wherever you need to be. So keep that in mind. How much of this could change between, say, tonight and early tomorrow? It could change a little bit. The numbers may come down with the model runs that come in this evening, or they could even go up even higher. I mean, that's how fickle this is. So when you're looking at the Weather Channel, they're saying 12 to 18. We're saying somewhere, 6 to 12 or around there, or 13. And then you look at Nashville, and some of them are saying, just 4 to 6. I mean, it's going to be somewhere. You gotta think, once you look at all the combination of things and everybody's throwing out different numbers, it's going to be somewhere in the middle of all that. In other words, we're going to get something, and it's going to be significant, and it's going to impact you. The actual total that you get is what's going to be in question, and we won't know that until this thing is done. But whatever happens is going to be big enough to cause some major problems. So that's the takeaway that I hope you have after listening to this podcast and seeing what we've posted online. Now, we're going to keep things updated here. Shane is going in tonight to assist Christy, and they're going to tag team weather. We're going to have a special edition of WBKO at 10 tonight to kind of explain everything, show preps that are being taken by the road departments, the highways. Shelters are being set up. I've heard from several emergency managers and the American Red Cross. Some of the shelters they're getting in preps for all this. They're starting to look at all that. I don't know specifics on that, but I know that they're looking at that just in case. And then overnight, I'm going to come in earlier than I normally do, which is about 3 a.m. I'm going to come in sometime after midnight, 1 o'clock, and I'm going to do some overnight coverage in that I'm going to be there to do some live cut-ins on the TV side, and then we'll try to put up the live stream where you can watch the radar, and I'll do some updates on the live stream as well. We've got our special banner, severe weather banner, that's up at WBKO.com on the homepage. There's links to the live stream there, text alerts, and everything else that you'll need to know to kind of get through the storm. There's a story there, too, about showing the projected snowfall totals and the impacts and all the things that we think are going to play out over the next 24 hours. So there again, we may not be done with the snow tomorrow. We could see a little bit more snow maybe coming in Tuesday and Wednesday with some clipper systems coming through, and that could add to whatever is on the ground. So I'm telling you, this, starting tonight and for this coming work week, it is going to be a one to remember. Let's just put it that way. All right, so I've spent about 15 minutes here just kind of explaining what we see right now, what to expect. All I can say is please take this seriously. There will be time for armchair quarterbacking at another time, another place, and if we're wrong, then certainly you have every right to tell us how wrong we've been. But I'm telling you, if you guys don't take this seriously and don't prepare for it, and it does happen no matter how much you end up with, you will wish that you heeded these words and took the advice to at least plan for something big. And yeah, do the milk and bread runs. People have been doing it all day. People have been talking about, we laugh at that sometimes and chuckle at it. Everybody's making French toast. But really, I hope you have the basics. I hope you have all the prescriptions you need. I hope you have all the food and water and everything else that you may need, because you may find yourself in a place to where you cannot get out when you want to in the next couple of days. So, there you go. All right, in the meantime, as I say every time, know the weather before it knows you. God bless you, and thank you so much for listening. We'll all get through this. We'll get through it just fine. Stay with us, and we'll keep you as up to date as we possibly can. And I will see you early in the morning with a fresh podcast and video updates and everything online as well, and my social pages, Facebook and Twitter as well. God bless you, and I'll see you in the morning.